have been decluttering and organizing for over 20 years, and so I've seen a lot of folks in a lot of situations. At this point in my life, I find that a lot of times I'm working with women who are retired or about to retire, and by far and away, 90+% of the things that they struggle with boil down to it is so hard to me for me to deal with emotional things. Those tend to fall into two categories. One, our kids, and two, our relatives. Makes sense. So I'm going to address each of them just very quickly here, but I love it when people reply back to me, contact me, touch base, whatever, and we can talk through your situation. It's probably a lot like other folks, and yet you're still uniquely you, so I'd love to talk through it with you. So kids, one of the things that, I don't know that our kids are going to do it, but one of the things that we did when we were younger is we got in the habit of saving everything for our kids. We had bigger homes than our parents did back in the day. A lot of us had basements, we had space to store things, and so we did. We did not curate, meaning be very purposeful about what we were keeping, to tell a story, but not say all the words, but to say a very specific story. And so we kept the baby teeth and all the report cards and all the pictures and the handwriting samples, and you got the idea, everything through the years, all the trophies. Now, fast forward a few years, the kids have left home. They're in their probably fairly permanent homes. Maybe they've even married. And we have boxes and bins to give them, and cricket, they don't want them. It hurts. We had dreams and hopes of going through that stuff with them, or seeing them go through it, or having them rehash and relive the memories with us, and that just isn't going to happen if they don't take this stuff. We've also stored it in the basement or wherever we're storing it. Maybe we've moved it a few times. We've gotten really attached to that stuff. Here's the thing. Your memories are not necessarily their memories, and that's okay. When they say no thank you to stuff, they're not rejecting you, they're rejecting the things. And you know what? There's a lot of reasons. It's not saying they didn't appreciate their childhood. It's not saying they didn't appreciate the memories that you made. But one, it just may not be a memory for them. Two, younger folks these days, and when I say younger, I'm talking 20, 30, even 40-year-olds, aren't holding on to the amount of stuff. So that's just an overwhelming burden to, like, oh my goodness, boxes and boxes. They may have a spouse that doesn't want this, and they don't want to, and they should not be creating strife in their household. So the best thing you can do, and it's not easy, I'm not saying it is, but the best thing that you can do is reframe how you're thinking about this stuff. Instead of trying to give everything to your kids, say, would you like me to pare down to the things that I think you might actually like, and it'll fit in a box this size, and then you can check it out and decide for yourself. If you get it down to a manageable portion, there's a good chance that they may want to take it, and they may find that they're surprised that they actually do want some stuff. You know what? They may have made a mistake. You may make mistakes of letting go of things that they do want later. Guess what? They were living without them anyways. You know what? It's okay if something gets discarded that later somebody goes, oh, it would have been nice to have. They will still be able to continue living, and it is just stuff. Better that they got some of the things than that you're just storing in the basement and nobody ever looks at it again. Okay, and I'm hitting this real quick, but now thinking about relatives. That can be really hard too, because you may feel very sentimental about these things. Even if you didn't meet the relatives that this stuff is from, you may feel like you have an obligation. You know, mom said this was grandma's, you got to keep it. And, you know, maybe you didn't care about it, but, you know, mom said, and you care about what mom says. Here's the thing. It goes back to what I talk about in my stack method of decluttering, the T in today you. If today you doesn't have the room for that stuff, just doesn't feel the ability or the need to keep it, or it's weighing you down, and I'll tell you one of the biggest ways it can weigh you down, you need to decide, are you going to keep this or not? Now here's the thing. One of the ways that it weighs people down, the biggest way, is perhaps by this point you've helped a parent declutter, or they've passed and you've had to do everything. It can be a horrendous task, and everybody I know walks away going, oh my goodness, I will never do that to my kids. But here's the thing. If you keep everything that your folks had, and maybe spouses' folks had, and other relatives, you will be doing that to your kids. So here's the deal. Go back to that idea of curating. A museum does not keep everything that comes their way. The stuff that they do keep, they don't put it all out in the display areas. They keep some stuff in the back. Why? Because they're trying to tell a specific story. So just because Great Aunt Susan had these 5 things, those things, one, they're not Great Aunt Susan. It's okay to let some things go. You're not letting go of her. And you know what? You can tell the story of her. You can remember her with 1, 2, 3 things. You don't necessarily need 5 things. And you know what? If you don't have the space, maybe you choose the smallest 2 or 3 things, not the largest. This can be really hard to do, especially if you're a sentimental person. Especially, it gets even more so if your spouse is a sentimental person. Once again, think about working with a professional organizer. Why? Because it's that third party. Now, a professional organizer, and I don't do this, and a professional organizer shouldn't come in and go, you need to get rid of this, 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 and this. That's not the right thing. What we should be doing, what I try to do, is help people realize I don't have to keep everything that grandma touched. I can keep these special things, and maybe I can display them better. Maybe I oftentimes use the example of cut the pocket off of an apron and frame it and actually hang it, as opposed to having a dusty old box of dirty aprons stuffed away. Much more enjoyable, much more honoring to grandma. That's what I do for my clients, is help them honor those things, and it's not stuffing them away and nobody even knows their story. So I just want to encourage you, if you're a very sentimental person, the answer isn't throw everything away. It's also not keep everything. It's be more purposeful. Curate. Get a third party, get somebody else to help you think through these things. You can do it.